That makes you a backup singer. Right, guys, so DNA's back. It's a bit spluttery in the wet, so we're just going to clean the spark plug. I'll pop it and see what it's like. Front brake pads are here. No luck with the rears yet, so the rear is still in an awkward position. I actually personally took off his rear brake last week because huge concerns that whatever's going on down there, the pistons come out too far. I don't want it locking up and he would use it by mistake. So, yep, leaving it like that until they're here. And the front pads are working, but they're low, stupidly low, so we've got a new set of front pads. So, this bike's going to have front pads. We're going to look at the rollers and clean them, throw on a new belt, and we needed a new brake light switch. All fairly simple stuff. Main thing back here is to, oh, there you go, pop up the air box. So we'll put some sort of cable on it and we'll lift it up. And then break all of the Allen bolts there. And then this will easily, once you take that cap off, this will easily pop off and out. And then we'll use the gun to blitz off the bolt. If you haven't got a gun, you can do this. I did it for years without one, using hammers and this and that to wedge the variator. But I promise you, if you're doing even 2 or 3 bikes in your lifetime, the Ryobi, I call it a gun, but it's a torque gun down there, or whatever you call it, torque tool. But it just blitzes it off, guys, immediately. So let's do a bit by bit. I'm not going to show you the silly little switch. It's very quick and easy. It goes into the back of here, right there, and you put the wiring back on, which should be kicking about there. Well, there you go, it's on the old switch. And that's done. That's very quick and easy. Again, down here, we took this off last week, so we know the bolts are good. Same thing, pop them off, taking the pads out and swapping, very quick and easy, but we will show that at the time. And then we'll show you what the rollers look like and what the old belt looks like. Should get a bit more power out of a new belt always, whether that's acceleration or top end. So nice little bits of maintenance here. If you're ever having slight issues in your wires, stuff like this, look, just make sure none of the wires have burnt, because this is choke. That should be tucked away, really. You don't want it sitting on the engine, but just tucked away. And you want to make sure it's, look, in fact, look, see, that's kind of twisted and exposed there. We just want to make sure it's still got good connection, because this bike could be running with its choke on, for example, and that would drive it nuts. Just check everything else. I did a spray test on this last week, and it didn't. There was no obvious leaks of air, which is great news. Alright, anyone who watches my channel, if I'm working on my bikes, I don't block your number plates, because I live by the whole trust people situation. But if someone else owns the bike, I like to block the number plate just for peace of mind. You do have to blitz off this nut, the clutch nut, before you get in here. Now, we're not expecting to see anything in here. It might be a bit messy, dirty, dark. I'll be shocked if I wasn't in here. I would have been in here when I had this bike. It's one of the things I do every single time. But pop this off, up and out. All the clutch locks. Oh, your belt is on its absolute last legs. Look at that, Steve. Look at that, look, it's got a...
Damn, man.
Wow. Oh, okay.
At least you got a new belt,
and
man.
this nut actually is a little bit worse for wear. We'll let that WD seep in a bit, and then we will blitz that off and just check the rollers. At this stage, put the cap back in so we're not getting crap into the oil. Yeah, and in a minute I'm going to blitz that off, and we will at least be swapping the belt, but we'll do our basic maintenance, cleaning of the rollers and stuff like that. So how are we going to do this? You guys like to see some of the work.
Look at that belt is...
That lasted for a year.
Yeah. What, over?
It's September you bought this bag when the petrol station.
Absolute lifesaver, this is.
You had this all over a year. Usually.
I mean, it shows you kind of how quick the wear and tear.
Shit, and you know what? Not doing many miles.
You haven't done that many miles?
Not well. I've done a few, but not. It's not a daily thing.
Their bikes, it's Italian, man. They're not last that long.
People don't like to touch belts and variators. There's a huge fear about it, and it's an unnecessary.
But what are they scared of?
I think the main thing they're scared of is the order of which everything goes.
Yeah, but listen, you need to understand how things work.
Yes.
So that's an important part of it all.
And the truth is that this actual area is hugely important because it's the only thing that connects the engine to the wheel.
Yeah.
So if you ever threaded the nut on here, or if these splines that this is sitting on, because this is sitting on splines at the moment, if they ever rounded off or anything, you'd be screwed. So I do get why people have a slight fear. So we've got a shim on the outside, and on top of the shim goes the, which would have been the old kickstart.
Okay.
And then behind that, we have another shim, which I used to take off.
Okay.
But I think they increase acceleration. So that bit's fine. So, I mean, this belt absolutely was due for a change. So many different methods to taking these belts off, but generally you squeeze in like that.
Okay.
And then you slide the belt off. So it sometimes takes quite a lot of pressure to squeeze this in, look, because it's on a system. I don't mess with the clutch too much. There's not much in there you can do, so I kind of leave it alone. I've actually got a spare clutch for this. It might have racing springs in it, and someone recently gave me racing springs for this, but it's not something I've done, so I just don't mess with them.
Yeah.
I just don't mess with
It looks in pretty decent.
Some things we're looking at here are, this should all spin, okay? So at the moment, this should all just spin freely. So look, you know, that's fine. I wouldn't worry too much about that.
Yeah.
We are going to see our rollers drop out. You can try and put your hand around the back and pull it all out in one. That rarely happens. So I normally pop out this bar here, which I always give a bit of a clean. WD-40 is your friend here. Give that a good clean, and then this is all going to come out in pieces, but we know it's fine. There it is.
Boom, boom, boom.
And actually we can see shards of belt in there. Like there's one roller, 2, 3. It's very dirty in there, so a clean will absolutely help. 4. That's very rounded, that one. Right, so what we do is we turn them over for now. If you ever want to get a new set, then we get a new set. There you go. You're looking for flat spots. But at this stage, a good clean, and then actually we can see that there's powder in there, and that's from the belt. Everything else is okay. Everything else, it'll be a clean, a polish, and back on. Right. Oh. So what you just saw was a sped through version of me cleaning it, but you know you would have got the idea of what was going on. You can also pause it and slow it down if you need it. Ultimately, this is exactly what we're looking for. The belt's back on, everything was cleaned. You don't want grease or WD in there too much. I used WD to clean and then I wiped it off. You don't want too much in there. When you're torquing the nut back on, be very careful. I had it on medium setting, not on full, because again, that's the crank. That's the only thing that is the main thing you need. While I'm under here, I just noticed, even though there's no air leakage on the carb, it is sticking out a little bit. Ideally today I'd be pushing that in a touch more to make sure there really is no leakage, although we didn't get any. Next bit simple. I'm not even going to record it, guys, because I'm just putting the cover back on and nipping it all up. No point. Don't forget to put your starter Bendix in. Otherwise you won't be able to start your bike. And I have no doubt this bike's going to run better than it has now. It should get a quicker acceleration and it should have a better top speed as we've done it in this way. So everything back on and back together. Camera's not going to film it, there's no point, it's boring. I'm going to pop the spark plug, give it a quick clean, and I'm going to just push the carb in and see it a bit. It's just sticking out a little bit at the bottom and that bothers me. And then Steve will take it around the block and we'll see how it's running. These bikes, they ran like crap from the factory. That's the truth, they never worked. Main issues was normally with the fuel pump. So if we find that we're continually having issues with the running and we've done everything, it will be kind of a fuel pump situation. And me and Laguna Paul, who you've seen on the channel a couple of times, have been talking about this a lot. The Achilles heels of a lot of these bikes, the Aprilias and the Gileras. His system of a pump being put on as an electrical one might be the way to go, but he would know more than I will. If you ever want to talk to him about that, if you've got this mechanical suction pump and you'd like to consider going electrical, he has his channel, it's called Laguna, but you can also write to him through mine if needed. He's very polite and he does talk, so that's great. Right, let's get this back on, do the other couple of bits, and don't forget the brakes because you're going to need them a bit more now, and we'll see how it goes.